Hey guys, welcome back to Arry The Stag. TR Tony here, reporting in live from sunny Bournemouth. Welcome back, glad to have you on board. Lots of things going on over the last weekend or so, and as I'm sure you'll be aware, lockdown is still on us, so we're having to improvise and do things around the house and around the garage as best we can. One of the key challenges recently, as you may know, is that the UNY 49M body tub has been away at Alan The Welder's. It's only actually a couple of miles away from here, but obviously with the COVID regulations and the sensible precautions we've all got to take our responsibilities, and therefore we've not been down to see Alan The Welder for quite some time. However, by the wonders of modern technology, he has been able to WhatsApp me over a few decent photographs. So plan for today really is just to walk you through some of the things that he's sent through, just showing you some of the updates on the progress with the body tub. It's looking good. I won't spoil my own thunder, but let's just take a look and I'll walk you through what he's been doing. So last time we were there, we went down to see Alan, and indeed Kai, his son, was there. Kai was sitting out the front, sanding down a Lambretta mudguard, as I remember, and making a very good job of it too. Kai is very much learning his craft with his dad, bodywork and so on, and really making some great inroads, and it's great to see. Lovely guy, and doing extremely well. And as ever, young Alan was propped up against one of his very nicely put together motorbikes. He's got a number of classic and custom bikes he's very proud of making. Gets out and about on them as well, I think, from time to time. And yeah, he's been extremely good to us. We've built a really good relationship over the last 3 years or so, and indebted to him for all his hard work. He really has a lot of talent. He was introduced to us by a guy I go circuit training with originally, and yeah, he's got his own ways and got his own methods, but the stuff that he knows, you know, is just immense, and continually inspires us to keep going. He's a great guy. So here are the first of several photographs that Alan sent through fairly recently, about a weekend or so ago, and as you can see, UNY 49M is Australian style, as they would say, so it's upside down. They've managed to flip it over, got it on some long axle stands, as you can see there from the front, protecting the windscreen surround, as you can just about make out on the bottom closest to the floor. Looks like Kai is beginning to make a start on the kind of bodywork itself. The welding mostly done, and I'll show you some shots of that in just a second. And you'll also notice it's in kind of grey primer. I don't think that's necessarily the start of things to come on the paint side. I think it's more of a telltale coat, as Alan would say, such that in certain lights with grey you can really see any defects, bumps, dings or knocks that need to be addressed, perhaps slightly filled where appropriate. You have to use some level of filler, obviously, to smooth things out, but largely the metalwork looks done, and I'm sure Kai here is just working through the tailoring of the bumps, knocks and dinks that he can find to get it to some state of perfection, and looking good. One of the key things that you'll remember from the rebuild process, if you've been watching the videos of Alan The Welder, is the need for good panel fit. And I see Kai here is looking at the sill, and we had an experience actually in buying a heritage sill, which was a kind of black painted, officially certificated, original BL part badged sill, and I think of all the panels that we've bought for this car over the last 2 or 3 years, Alan still raves about the one that Kai is looking at right now as one of being one of the best fitting ones that he's ever had the pleasure of doing. It absolutely went together like a dream, apparently, and quite a crucial component, obviously, for straightness and making sure that the Stag is in order. I think Kai here is just literally just checking on any kind of fine panel fit issues and any dinks that need to be sorted. Looking at the car from the other end of affairs, so from the rear looking forward, I think you can see just what amount of work Alan has put into this car. He professed, as I'm sure many of you who've been following the videos will know, that if he'd started on the other side first, he wouldn't have continued. This car was so badly rotten on the last remaining side that had he started there first, he would have refused the project. But having done the project halfway through along one side, he then discovers the mess of the other side, but has to carry on regardless, obviously, to get the car done. So I think it's been a bit of a vocation for him and for Kai, and certainly for us. We're almost, in fact, I think we're over 2.5 years now, but that was always the arrangement. It was always going to be a casual, do it as you can. We'll just keep it going as a project ongoing. The latest things, as you'll see from the rear, has been the boot floor, which was the last panel to go in. He wanted to do all the rest of the bodywork and the floor panels and everything else, and also the arches, because they were pulling apart, as you'll remember from previous videos. Was then to do the boot panel, which ties everything all in straight and makes it nice and neat. This particular line here was quite tricky to do. In fact, one he admitted he needed to redo again, largely because I hadn't given him the right photography, but he's done that now, and I think you can see there's a nice sweep there. With this particular car, you can't quite see, but there are two studs here and under here, and that holds the differential carrier onto the bottom of the car. And at some point in the past, as we all know, this car had a really good shunt on the offside, which would be over this side here, which meant that the gap from this line to this line roughly here was a lot narrower than it should have been. Probably damage that had been there for many decades. We discovered it when we were trying to take the differential out and found that the differential wouldn't pull back off the splines to allow it to drop out of the car. So it took quite a bit of prising and fettling and manipulating to get it out. So what Alan has now done is actually move this line back to, I think he said the other week, within 1/8 of an inch of where it actually should be. So it's pretty much lined up and crisscross checked both ways to make sure that the car is aligned, straight and true, such that when we build it back together with all the suspension parts and running gear, that actually it won't be going around in circles, and will be nicely put together. So top work, that man. And again, this is looking at the car from the opposite side, looking forward. You can just see on the floor here, this is the original bonnet that the car came with. We have got a replacement. You will have seen about a year ago I travelled down to North Devon, I think it was, or somewhere, and got another bonnet. So we've got that in store to drop down after lockdown for Alan to get going on that. But largely, as we all know, he wanted to focus on the bodywork and make sure that that was okay. These panels here, I mean, these have been a work of art here, because rear wings, A, are expensive if you can even get hold of them, complete rear wings, up to £1,000 a side, I think, and B, you know, we didn't really need to replace all of it. So Alan, being quite a craft guy, a very talented welder, managed to get a few kind of panel pieces in which to fettle in the weld and so on. I think you'll remember this side in particular, which was the spring holder, rear spring holder, was absolutely rotten. Starting out here, it was absolutely corroded here, and I don't think this side was too bad actually. Here and here are really important, because these holes, you can just about make them out here, is where the rear suspension locates into the car. You've got some massive great bushes here, probably about 3 inches wide round, and these are really, really important for the structural safety of the car. This side here, much to our horror, because it was masked under a load of paint and all sorts of road dirt, literally was hardly anything left. It was a wonder this car ever got through an MOT, because literally the rear suspension was about to pull off the thing. So Alan had the challenge of rebuilding all of this largely from scratch, using his eye, using reference points on this side. That's his talent and how good he is. And yeah, it's looking pretty good, I reckon. And then just to finish off the body shop photographs, again, a couple of points here. You can see the amount of work that's had to go into this rear wheel arch here, the work around the kind of sweeping rear finish here. This was an area here he was struggling with. This panel had been dinked badly, so again he's had to work really hard to get the flush fit and the flush look right, make it look, and he's quite a perfectionist that way. Here you can see the amount of work he's put into the seam welding here, and apparently you have to do these seam welding. You can't do these spot welding for MOT reasons. Not that this car is a MOT qualified car anymore, but I'll probably still get it MOT'd anyway, just for my own personal safety and personal concerns. So that's really important that we make sure we get that done. But as I was saying earlier, these are the two pins here and here where the suspension is actually affixed to the car, the differential carrier rather, and it was this line, the distance between this line here and the 4 line here, that had obviously been squashed from a hit at the back here. So yeah, I think you can just see the complicated different levels and the different lines and the different shapes he's had to craft, but it is all now coming together. This back line, you can't see that well in this photo, but is actually quite nicely done, and they've done a superb job. Now, it has been a few weeks since we were able to go and see Alan the last time, and in that period, prior to turning the body tub over, he did just manage to finish off the right hand rear quarter on the offside rear of the Stag. So as we're looking at it here, if you imagine this is the end of the rear wheel arch, this would be the tail, and the filler cap will be up here somewhere, no doubt. This is the boot floor that we bought as a replacement panel, and clearly he's been really busy. You can just appreciate the level of work that he's gone into with the seam welding down here and the fettling he's had to do to get this line exactly right. I know he's kind of waxed lyrical a couple of times when we've been down there visiting him, but it just illustrates what skill is required in putting this car together. But as you can see too, it's all decent metal, and that's great since it was a bit of a rust bucket prior to that. And again, a slightly different angle here. Again, here's the very rear of the boot floor. This is the weld that he's made. These two items here were actually to try and pull the wing out to try and make a good kind of flow across the metal. This is obviously down towards the rear of the wheel arch, but these welds here have had to be pulled out such that you've got a nice radius across the whole back of the car there. And then a final detail shot. This is the very right offside back corner, and you get a good impression of the whole finished job here. And yeah, what a fantastic job he's done, and I'm sure with some more fettling, bodywork from Kai and whatever, you'll never know that this has been done. This will look really nice under the paint cover when it's on and looking resplendent in Inca yellow. Exciting! Looking forward, Alan has been raving about this particular type of application. It is an application that Harry and I both saw when we went to the NEC show last year at Birmingham, where we saw a stand demonstrating and showing the Raptor paint application. Now this, historically, I think, originated probably from America, I think, where they used it extensively. It's a really heavy-duty protective paint that can be applied to generally undersides, or in this case, flatbed kind of Jeep style 4x4 rear ends, such that they're not going to get damaged and start rusting away. So it's a real heavy duty paint, protective coating as it says. It's very tough, as it says here, and tensible. Tough meaning you can actually put in various degrees of grit to make it either a very smooth finish or as fine as you like, or you can make it a real kind of industrial, almost sandpaper style finish. And Alan is very keen to use this on the underside of UNY 49M, principally because it'll move with the car, and nothing is going to get past this, he reckons, in terms of water ingress and rust. Yes, he's going to kind of wax oil all the cavities and whatever, but the whole of the underside, probably up until the sill on both sides, is going to be covered in this particular application. And it's a very interesting piece of paint work. We've seen it at the show. It actually sets to a really hard, durable, almost plastic kind of feel, depending on how you mix it all up. but I'm sure this will be a great long-term protector for UNY 49M when we get to it, which is really great. So I think once they finished the body prep as they're doing now, and the reason it's upside down in the workshop is that they'll start to paint the Inca yellow. It's going to be Raptor paint on the underside, then they'll flip it back over to do the rest of the upside in due course. And mentioning all the different colours, here's just a very basic paint chart I managed to grab off the net just to show you the diversity of colours. As we mentioned in the previous slide, you can brew it and colour it and tint it to your own preferred kind of style. Obviously Alan will be very much Inca yellow because that is going to be the colour, final colour of the car, so it'll be something near this Amarillo, but then no doubt pimped up to make it look more Inca than this is. But whether it's top side or bottom side, it's going to make the car look really great, and we're all very excited because I think actually we're not too far away from the car returning to us. The welding work is now pretty much done. Alan will now go into paint mode. He's a pretty good painter as well, and body prep guy. So alongside Kai and Alan, both of them now will be working hard to finish the car off such that we can have it back at our home and start to rebuild it. One final thing was that Alan said he just wanted to make sure that the doors were appended properly and bolted correctly, and that the panel fit was good. So that's something he'll make sure is done before we get it back. And then obviously we've got some ancillaries such as the bonnet, the boot lid, which is a disaster. We need to do something about that. And also, of course, the hardtop, which I will have all in the same colour. So that's the cunning plan going forward. And yeah, we are indebted as ever to Alan and to Kai for all their wonderful hard work they've done to date. We've got a great friendship now, and I'm sure this won't be the end. We'll have lots more dealings with them in future on other projects as they come up. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the up-to-date coverage of latest developments with the UNY 49M body tub. I'm sensing a little bit more motivation all round, if I'm really honest, because probably turn of the year, around about Christmas time, it was a bit of a dark and dingy time. Alan was injured. We were slowly wading through treacle, it seemed, but suddenly the car seems to be coming back together right now, and that's really great. I think we just need to remind ourselves when we're rebuilding cars that it isn't a linear progress. You're not going to get perfect every single time. It's going to take step by step by step. I think if you just focus on the little baby steps all along, then eventually the whole thing comes together. And I don't think we're too far away from it now. Looking at the car upside down as it is, ready for the Raptor paint treatment, which I think is a very durable finish, as I mentioned in the video. Yeah, when we get it back, it'll have its doors on. It'll be in inky yellow as a pristine body tub, I hope. I'm sure it will be. And we then start the rebuild process, by which time we'll be have done our garage and be ready to reconstruct UNY 49M. There you go guys, so thanks for following, thanks for watching. Please feel free to share and like and subscribe. It's always good to have you on board. If you sign up for your badge of honour, as many of you know, there's a little piece coming in a minute, then please do. You also get our Saturday Sockets, which is an email update every Saturday about some other behind the scenes and off camera shenanigans that we get up to. So it's a bit of fun if you want to do that too. Good stuff. Have a safe week wherever you are guys, and we'll see you online on Arry The Stag very soon. Cheers for now guys. Bye. So if you too would like to have one of our Arry The Stag badges of honour, they are free of charge. All you've got to do is go onto the Arry The Stag website, check out the badge of honour page, which hopefully will come up very shortly, and you'll see here that there's been some other people out there who've also benefited from the Arry The Stag badge of honours. It doesn't have to be a Stag, by the way, could be any car you like. All you've got to do is enter a few details down here, tick a couple of boxes, and you too could be the proud owner of an Arry The Stag badge of honour on a car of your choice soon. So yeah, get stuck in, let us know who you are, and we'll send you one free of charge in the post. Happy days!